Basement level vibes with another one, straight up blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and on the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the truth. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark.
Hey fans, it's karaoke and oldies night this and every Thursday at Club Twilight Sideline Dam, Buxton. Dance to the magical songs of yesteryear by popular DJs and Camps Audio. Admission is free. Come out, let's make memories at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North.
All right, guys. Hey, guess what? Good night and welcome to Straight Up. My name is Mark Benchop. Hope you've had a good day. Mine was pretty busy. I tell you the truth, pretty busy. It's what is it? I almost thought, for some reason, I thought it was Tuesday, but it's Monday. But guess who is with me tonight? Yeah, some of you were inboxing me. Some of you owe me some money. You say she's not going to turn up. She's not good. I'm like, get out of here. You guys don't know her. She's from the quarantine. Rest yourself. And lo and behold, I sent the link and there it is. Member of Parliament, Amanza Walton Desir, is with us this evening. Share the link. Let people know. It's going to be a fiery night. I have some tough questions for her. All sort of things I'm going to be asking her this evening. So please share the link, guys. Let me put on my stuff because we can't have the Honorable MP coming on my show and looking. No, it can't happen. Come on, guys. She is with us. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, Lemon. Here it is. The Honorable MP. Her mic is muted. She's also Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs. Before we begin, before you say good night, let's take a quick selfie. Come on, you know we can do it. Good night to you. How are you doing?
Hey, Mark, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Really nice to have you. You haven't
You
been
had a
on
bet that I wouldn't come on the show?
Oh, yep. I lost. I said she's not going to come. I lost $200 Guyana dollars.
Okay, well, yeah.
Now, there was no bet at all. We knew that you were going to show up, but it's good to have you here. How have you been?
Good to be here. Good. Had a hectic last week, but very, very good. It comes with the territory, so.
Absolutely. It comes with the territory. Let's go straight back down all the way on the quarantine, number 51 village, Leeds village, and so forth. Talk to us a little bit about young Amanza growing up and what were some of the things you liked doing then? Let's hear about the little Amanza first.
I was a bit of a tomboy, believe it or not. And of course, grew up with older brothers and cousins. So it was 2 houses in 1 yard, right? So there were like maybe 10 of us within a 2-year age range of each other. So it was a lot of good memories, a lot of fun getting away to go to the back dam. We had cows and so on. So a lot of it was, cow pens. And then, of course, my mom and my aunt were heavily involved in politics. So a lot of it was WRSM and being dragged to WRSM meetings and party group meetings. So, it was, I wouldn't trade growing up on the quarantine for anything. And I know you shared some of that as well, growing up at Philippi, it was?
Yes, Philippi, but there weren't 10 of us. There weren't 10 of us in a yard. I guess that's where they got the name tenement.
No, listen. So it was 2 houses in 1 yard, right?
That's okay.
And so my mother and her sister, Urani Johnson, they lived next door to each other, two big houses in 1 yard. And so we always had cousins around to play with, always. Had each other, grew up in a very close-knit family. And my uncle Gorsham was down the road at 51. We were actually at 50. And I know that you know some people that lived opposite us in
Yeah, absolutely. I know lots of people there. The alert and everyone. Yes. Johnson's, Dwayne, and the entire crew. So let's talk about when you jumped on that big Tata bus and went up Linden. What was it like in Linden? From quarantine, from grazing cow, from milking cow?
Yes, and tractor riding. Because so my dad is from Linden. And Mark, it's amazing because you also have a connection to Linden.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so my dad was from Christianburg, and he was seconded to be the town clerk in Linden. And so the entire family moved when I was about, I think, 11. We moved from the quarantine to Linden. So it was, you got a little bit of town life, as it were. Went to high school there. So really have both well-grounded in the country, but also understand the finesse of the city and so on. So yeah, that was early Amanza. And again, steeped in a lot of politics because my dad was a regional chair for Region 10, PNC regional chair. And then my mom, some years after, was a deputy chair. So couldn't escape politics. And well, I guess here I am.
Here you are indeed. Amanza Walton Desir is with us. Welcome to the program, all of you. Share the link and let people know that the Shadow Minister of Affairs is with us. Talk to us a little bit, please, Miss Walton Desir, about cost of living. But before you do, let me just play this quick clip so that we can remind people what's happening on the ground in Guyana.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and and a fortnight man.
That's okay. You can smile about that. Three men now: weekend man, monthly man, and whatever other kind of man. But let's, on a serious note, though, people every day are crying out about what's happening in Guyana. Cost of living high, whether they're from Linden, Leeds, 50 Village, 51, Philippi, Georgetown, wherever, Essequibo, Barticle, let them talk to us about the ordinary man and women out there on the ground. Your microphone, please. Sorry.
Yes, it really is a horrible situation, and it's getting bad as the days go by. People are literally struggling to feed themselves now. The last study that was published that we saw showed Guyanese are 58% food insecure, which means that the average Guyanese cannot afford two nutritious meals per day. And we have a president that wants to run around CARICOM to talk about food security, and Guyanese are food insecure. And the apologists who come on social media to say, oh, things raise everywhere in the world. And whilst that is true, everywhere in the world um, is not benefiting from the high oil prices the way we are. Everywhere in the world does not have the small population that we do, and should be doing a far better job of making sure that they're able to partake in this boom in the economy. But it appears as though the PPP, they don't care. At first, you would have given them the benefit of the doubt that it was just incompetence, but it is not incompetence. It is literally that they simply do not care. And if you look at the model of development for the PPP, the way they've come through the years, you'll see that they've always heavily focused on enriching a few and hoping that by some miracle the benefits trickle down. I think we in the AP and UAFC have always had an approach of empowering the ordinary man, the ordinary woman, the hard-working Guyanese man and woman. And so what you're seeing is the difference in approaches being played out. Guyanese cannot feed themselves. And when we travel around the country, Mark, one of the things that we're struggling with is that the PPP does not understand that discrimination has a price tag attached to it. So you're talking about food security, right? But you're not supporting farmers in Afro-Guyanese communities in the way that you should, in order to be able to bring them onto the grid, as it were, to be able to contribute to the food basket and the food supply. So you have the farmers at Barnwell North being victimized. You have farmers at Wales whose bridges were burned from, and they were unable to access their lands. Those things have a spin-off effect down the line.
So
So,
how
yeah,
do you
please.
feel though? Go ahead, finish up your point. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead. I was
So
basically
how do you feel though that when you hear Irfan Ali traveling around Guyana, he's outside of Guyana, and he's painting this impression that all is well, when in fact people are being discriminated against, their houses are being bulldozed, businesses bulldozed, all manner of things. How does that make you feel when you hear him speak on those things?
angry. And this is why, Mark, I spent the last week traveling around the US. I was able to speak at Al Sharpton's Action Network. I was at Wharton. I was at Johns Hopkins, for the reason that our message has to get out there, so that Irfan Ali does not believe that he can just go trips in around the world and presenting himself as the champion of the people of Haiti, for example, as a champion of food security in the region, and Guyanese can't feed themselves. But in order for us to be able to be effective, we have to get out there with our message. And so I hope that people understand when they see us out there, this is not a case of, oh, we're traveling here, there, and everywhere. We have to be able to demonstrate that we're able to function at home and we're able to function abroad. And so when I travel to speak, it is to highlight exactly what is happening in Guyana, so that Irfan Ali doesn't get a free pass to masquerade himself as the savior of Guyanese and of CARICOM. There's another side to the story, and it must be told. And so This is why, I insist that I appear at certain fora and that I do certain things, because no Guyanese know well what is happening at home. But Irfan Ali continues to try to manipulate international perception, and we must not allow it. We must not allow it.
We must counter it indeed. 90 minutes after 9 o'clock, Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs, Amanza Walton Desir, with us this evening, also Member of Parliament. Sorry about that. Let's get straight to this clip here in terms of Irfan Ali going around, not only in Guyana, but outside of Guyana, basically spreading propaganda, lies, because that's not the reality in Guyana. Let's go to this first clip, please.
Take responsibility. Yep. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together. Because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President. All right, President. I agree with you, and I would have it no other way. No other way. There is only one way forward, and that is united. That is for us to band together, for us to understand the challenges together, and for us to overcome those challenges.
Don't ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for the country. So we're here to work together as one.
Thank you.
Let's do it orderly.
We have to have youth of the hills restaurant, and I'm proud to know we are Guyanese. And today I have one guy.
Yes, the propaganda indeed. He's painting a different picture of the reality there in Guyana. How does that make you feel when he's painting that false perception?
Resolved, because they talked about ask not what you could do for you, ask not what the country can do for you, ask what you could do for your country. A famous quote by an American president, JFK. And what we can do for Guyana is expose Irfan Ali for the fraud that he is. He is an absolute fraud. He says one thing and he does something else. Right now, today, you saw where they are evicting vendors from along the seawalls. People who have invested heavily based on their assurances. And now they're being told that they have 24 hours to pack up and move because the First Lady has some beautification project going on. And you want to get in the diaspora to talk about banding together. Banding together looks like paying our teachers a livable wage, paying our nurses so that they stay here and build their country. That's what banding together looks like. It looks like not appealing a decision that says that a parent company guarantee should be had in case of oil spills. That's what banding together looks like. So until Irfan Ali's words match his actions, I'm sorry, but I can place no stock in them. His government has demonstrated very clearly that they cannot be trusted, and we have to stop falling for the okie doke.
That's one of the things. Why do you suppose that some of these people are falling for the okie doke, so to speak? Don't they see what is happening in Guyana?
I think people are looking for leadership. I think that is what it is. And
but from Irfan Ali, though, when he
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think we have to do a greater job of highlighting what is happening. I think we have to do a better job of raising the consciousness of people and helping them to understand that, look, do not be used as propaganda. Irfan Ali turned up in Brooklyn. It was for pure propaganda to rebut the trashing that his government took at the UN Decade for People of African Descent hearings that they had. That was all it was. And we saw the video premiering today. And people fell for it. And we as leaders have to ask ourselves, what is it that we can do to make sure that people are aware? Whilst you can't control people, you give them the information and they have to make their decisions. So for me, I always try to introspect to see if there was anything else that I could have done or said or communicated so that people know exactly what is going on and that they understand that all Air Finale went there to do was to make them pieces in a propaganda video that he would put out a day later.
And that was correct. Yep, less than 24 hours that propaganda video
Absolutely.
was.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things, Madam MP, hospitals are in bad shape in Guyana. People complain every single day. Nurses complain, patients complain. Air Finale doesn't take the time to go to Port Morant Hospital, New Amsterdam Hospital, Skeleton Hospital, Mighty Curie, Mackenzie, you name it, Bartica. But yet he takes the time out to rush to Kings County Hospital. And I heard earlier today that his visit to the hospital is under investigation, that it wasn't planned, and the board of directors didn't give this okay for a political stop by a quote unquote president of another country. Let's go to the hospital. And at this visit here at Kings County Hospital, you'll hear the lone voice of a woman. A woman was actually asking him the right things, the right questions about water, electricity, and they all evaded that. Let's go to the state, please, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going there. Besides, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm the president.
We have to really work on it. Clear. Thanks for getting me.
Just a few minutes there. People weren't concerned. Majority of the people that were there were non-Guyanese. Just a quick stop, didn't ask permission or anything, but made that political stop. I was made to understand that it is actually his so-called visit is under investigation. Now take a look at this lady here, a brave woman I'd like to identify. She was the voice you heard. What about water? What about electricity? All these things. This woman, this brave woman, stopped from eating her food and went over to ask those questions. Whoever she is, salute to her. But Miss Amanza Walton Desir, what is your take on this propaganda visit there at Kings County Hospital?
Well, Mark, I think you've described it. It's for propaganda purposes, and it's unfortunate that people were not able to see and understand exactly why he would do it. And I'm glad that it's under investigation because, a head of state stopping by a hospital like that has implications for a number of things. But you see, that is what happens when you operate or you come from a disposition of not understanding systems and processes, etc. So you figure that every country is cowboy country. So it'd be good if it's under investigation, and of course you have operational considerations, all of these things that attend the head of state visiting a hospital. It's not like somebody who just showed up to visit a patient there. So there are consequences to these types of asininities, and we'll wait to see. But I hope that the people who um, are now finding themselves in as a part of the propaganda understand exactly why you cannot lend yourself and your person to certain things. We will
You think
see if
that
the lesson has been learned.
well, I was going to ask you whether you think that those few who, in my opinion, misguided few who blocked out other folks from even asking proper questions. They didn't want that, and shame on those individuals. But we never saw this before. This sort of disrespect, especially coming from a regime that is disrespecting people, to barge into a community like in Brooklyn and nothing.
Yeah,
What is happening there? And that is
but
supposed to be
Mark,
a PNCR stronghold. What's going on?
you know what? I will say this. The, if he wants to go to Brooklyn, he can go to Brooklyn. Nobody can stop him. Um, One would have expected, though, that we would have seen placards and protests. This, as you've rightly said, has never happened before. And so we have to ask why. Times are changing. We have to assess ourselves honestly and assess our influence honestly and assess why is it that this which has never happened before is now happening. It requires hard conversations. It requires introspection. And, I know people are upset and people are angry, but like I said, I always prefer to look inward first. So, what is it about how we are as a party, as a collection of people that would see something like this happening? Are we prepared to ask those questions? It might not be a popular position to take, but it is how I truly feel. And, I always say how I truly feel and let the chips fall where they may.
You had a meeting out there in Canarsie sometime
Mm-hmm.
last week. What was the reaction? Because we know the people are eager for change. They want to see the back of this installed regime, but yet there were just a few. And we cannot be fooled by just a few who sheltered Air Finale there in Brooklyn. But what was the reaction of all those people at your meeting a week and a half ago?
Yeah, and it was a very good turnout. And for me, I was in the US. I had a number of speaking engagements, and a group of people said, look, you should let's put on a town hall. People are starving for information. And so I said, sure, find a date that that could fit into my schedule, and let's do it. Because for me, wherever Guyanese are, I want to go. Wherever Guyanese are hungry for information, I am willing to go to give them information. And so what you saw was an overwhelming majority of people who wanted answers. And it says to me that we have to really improve our information dissemination. We have to be out there more speaking. And, we have an aversion to repeating ourselves that we have to begin to counteract. We have to begin to be clear in our messaging, and we have to repeat it for emphasis. And we have to repeat it until people understand this is what we are about. This is what we feel about a particular situation or on a particular issue, and our positions are clear, they are unified, and whilst there may be different voices, there is one message. And so I was deeply, deeply touched by the level of interest shown by the people who showed up quite short notice for the town hall, and we had a very rich um, interaction. A lot of people are concerned about the Venezuela issue. A lot of people are concerned about engagement of the diaspora, and for those who um, listen to the recording of it, they will see that that is what I went there to do, to share information. I am a member of parliament tasked with a particular portfolio. And so wherever I go, I try to bring information. I try to make sure that the APNU AFC's position on matters are clear, they are out there, and people understand what we are and what we intend to do as the next government.
All right, let's take a plane and head back to Guyana now. Some folks are of the view that MPs, there are some MPs who basically, to cut it into layman's term, are lazy, aren't doing much. You don't fall in that category of not doing much. But some folks seem to think that sometimes when you appear, and I'm not going to call the names of some of those people, feel that just it's a selfie purpose. And talk
you
to
know,
us about that. Is it?
Mark,
Yeah,
look,
is it
listen,
really selfie?
I have heard that. I mean, Mark, you and Al called me a Barbie some time ago. It was very shady. But I love you and all is forgiven. I believe that you people who know you know that you are quite a jester and you have a great sense of humor. So and you can't have a thin skin to hang
So
around
you
you.
accept being Barbie as a political Barbie as a compliment. Yeah. But what's going
Look,
on the ground,
it's
please?
neither here nor there. No, but you see, look, and you've identified the dilemma that we have, that I have as an MP, because I have never been the type of person who sits on her hands. I don't know how to do that. And so if I'm a member of parliament, you get 100%. You get my best effort, you get my best advice, and that is what I bring. And I am not going to apologize for that. I'm never going to apologize for it because my parents taught me something. Whatever is worth doing well. And so if you're going to be a representative for the people, they deserve your best. They deserve your best effort. And that is what I bring. People criticize it because it may look a certain way to them. I am sorry, but I insist on things being done a certain way. People deserve standard. They deserve our best, and that is what I will continue to give unapologetically. So you could keep looking because we're just getting started. Because there's a lot of work to do. We have a government that we have to keep um, on their toes, Mark. They are not managing this oil wealth for the benefit of all Guyanese. And so we have to go out. We have to make sure that what we do is documented because, of course, one time you hear they're not doing anything, and when you do something and you show it, oh, they're doing it just for show. So the only thing that you could do is be true to your mission, be true to yourself, be true to the people of Guyana, and let the chips fall where they may. So we will continue to hold this government accountable. We will continue to go into the highways and the byways and to the villages, and we will continue to speak to people because that is what we do as representatives.
All right, 37 minutes after 9 o'clock. I noticed they have some snitches in the audience. Denise Collison is saying Mark is the one who always throws shades at you, and he will do it again.
Of course, I will expect no less next week.
Right after this interview is done, too. But, recently we heard that the regime is going to be bringing 500 plus nurses from Bangladesh. There's so many young people in Guyana who are looking for jobs. There's so many nurses who are being underpaid, ill-treated, and all manner of things. What is your take on the regime running away from CARICOM and going all the way to Bangladesh to bring 500 nurses, their children, their husbands, their boyfriends, and their entire families to Guyana? Your take.
Mark, it is a complex issue because we do need people. Our population is small. We do need people. But we also have a duty to make sure that we retain Guyanese first. And so that is my quarrel with this entire approach. You're bringing nurses from Cuba, you're paying them, you are providing free transportation and free housing. Why are you not providing free transportation for our local nurses? Why are you not incentivizing home ownership for our nurses? Where, okay, in certain communities, certain amounts of house lots are apportioned for healthcare professionals, for joint service professionals, and you build your communities in a way that they have a wide cross section of people within those communities. So it looks like incentivizing nurses with house lots. It looks like incentivizing nurses with financing for houses. Maybe they don't need to find the 20%. Maybe a nurse, once they are contracted for a particular period of time, should be able to go to a bank and have access to financing to build a home. We have to begin to be creative and imaginative in terms of retaining our people. And for the first time, we have the ability to do it. But it is very apparent to anyone who has eyes that this government is attempting to population engineer. They're attempting to engineer the population in a manner that they feel comfortable. It is no secret that the PPP fans the flames of racism whenever the opportunity presents itself. And so for them, this is what it is about, because I am sure we have nurses from other places that, for example, don't pose a language barrier, for example, that could be retained. So my point is, make the effort to keep our nurses and our doctors here, because people don't just pick up and leave their country. It is a weighty and a grave decision. And if there is enough to keep them here, they will stay here. So we incentivize our nurses and doctors, we keep them here, and then we bring in the best of the best if we're going to bring people, because we can afford to pay a certain level of salaries.
But
So
not the government, the current regime, they don't think that that it is something that they should be doing. It They don't see it as an obligation to
they
pay
do,
the
they do
nurses,
no,
pay the teachers.
understand that the psyche of this current cabal has never been to make sure that the rising tide floats all boats. They deliberately bore holes in the boats of other people so that they are doomed to struggle. That is the psyche of this cabal. So they will not pay attention to the ordinary man and woman. They'll not pay attention to making sure that our school children have subsidized transport, etc. They're not going to do it in immediately, even though it can be done now. They will make Guyanese wait, and they will do it in their own sweet time, possibly as an elections gimmick. But I always say that I want Guyanese to remember that if you give me $5 when I need it, it's better than giving me 100 after I have starved for months on end. Guyanese must be given what they need to live and to thrive, and they need it now. They don't need it in 2027. They need it now.
And
And
I'm glad that you're emphasizing on the need it now. If these 20 young people, their death anniversary is coming up, 1 year death anniversary is coming up next month, I believe. If they had spent the millions of dollars that they rushed to give the families here to hush things up, to repair the dorms, to ensure that these kids were secured, they quite possibly would have been with us today. Just thought I made that point clear, because you're saying, and we see it often, they rush to give you $100 after the fact.
after the fact, they've always been a reactive government. There's nothing, the only thing the PPP is proactive on is victimization, marginalization, and discrimination. That is
And,
the only thing they proactively do, and corruption.
and they do that a lot, especially corruption. Indeed, look at what they've done to these buses, dash them in a corner, so to speak, in Region 6. But let us move on to something else as it pertains to your area. You're the Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs. Can you
Yep.
give two things that you have basically championed to put this corrupt regime against the wall? They're back against the wall, that is. Maybe the Venezuelan crisis or something?
Well, look, Mark, 3 years ago, we made the observation when they amended the Registration of Births and Deaths Act that this was a mistake, that this government was setting this country up for a a situation that this government will not be able to control. Because what we have been saying is that we have to be cognizant that the deliberate injection of population, of Venezuelan population into Guyana, is actually a tool of hybrid warfare. We've been pointing that out. And it is entirely possible for Guyana to be overrun and to be taken over without a shot being fired. We keep saying this. I've been saying this for the last 3 years. And everything that I've said, we are seeing that it is coming to pass. Because one just has to take a look at how cavalier this government is in its approach to dealing with the migration situation. And you realize that this is a government that does not understand that you are not in control of this thing. The PPP believes that they are in control, but they are not. For example, they're telling us they have 20,000 Venezuelans in Guyana. We know for a fact that it is closer to 60,000. Only 20% of the Venezuelans in Guyana are documented. And so the problem that you have is that there's a government that is bent on engaging in denial. They are in denial as to what the problem is. So we continue to highlight this issue. We continue to call for a immigration policy. I've been calling for one for the last 3 years. The government has not been able to adumbrate a policy. We have outlined what such a policy could look like. They have refused to engage in it, and we will continue to call for it. And we are committing to Guyanese that should we be given the opportunity to return to office, what you will see is a sound immigration policy that will see a clear path to citizenship. Not everybody should be able to run up in your country and be a citizen 1 year after. And these types of lax arrangements that currently exist, you will see a tightening up, but you will also see a clear path to Guyanese citizenship. And you will see a clear path to being able to come to Guyana to work, to earn, to pay your taxes, and to contribute to the development of Guyana. But we have to have a policy in place that protects Guyanese and secures this precious thing called the Guyanese citizenship.
You know, one of the things we've heard not so long ago, the guy who sits there as the VP of the country said that maybe it's time that Guyana shares a piece of Guyana's territory with Venezuela. I need your position on that, please.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
How treasonous is that?
I can only hear Dave Martins. We ain't giving up no mountain. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river. That belongs to me. Essequibo belongs to Guyana, and that is how it will remain. Guyana has always been at pains to coexist peacefully with all of our neighbors. We continue to be committed to the region being maintained as a zone of peace. We have never been the aggressor as against Venezuela. And so I expect that organizations such as CARICOM will stand even more firmly with us. And, you know, we thank the international community for their continued support. But I think we are on the side of right. And I don't see any concessions being made for anybody, because history teaches us that appeasement has never worked. And so to begin to go down that road is dangerous, and it is ill-advised, and we're not prepared to do it. We have said that we will press the matter at the ICJ, that we're fully committed to the ICJ. And I think Maduro has demonstrated enough bad faith for this government to understand that this is not a matter to be played around with and for gifts to be exchanged and rum to be passed etc., as if you're having some kind of party. This is about the integrity of our borders. It is about our territorial integrity. It is about our sovereignty, and it requires a far more sober approach. I want to point out, Mark, that Maduro has never wavered or varied from his course of action. He said he would have a referendum. He had a referendum. They had Argyle. Maduro has passed his organic law as if Argyle never existed. But we see our government bringing rum and greeting and skinning and grinning as if this is something that is to be played around with. This requires a more studied and a more sober approach. We have been calling for a border commission to be set up. They have refused to do that. We have been calling for a foreign policy council to be set up, something that would see the best and brightest minds in academia, in foreign service. We have a number of our former diplomats who are still with us and who are prepared to give guidance and advice. We've said, look, form a bipartisan council so that we can really be united on this. They have refused that call. They have not convened a meeting of the Foreign Relations Committee since November last. I have written at least 3 times now. No response. So this government has not demonstrated a seriousness. And I worry that if they continue to be in power and if we don't vote them out, that soon we will not have a Guyana. That we will be second, third, fourth class citizens in our own country. And the probability of a soft invasion happening will continue to increase. People will come, settle in the Essequibo, and then decide, you know what, we want to be governed by Venezuela. And without a shot being fired, we could lose our territory, all because we have a government that doesn't seem to understand that this is not, skin, teeth, and fun and games, that this is serious business. Look, they have not said this to people, but Venezuela just refurbished the military airstrip at Ancoco. And they have been testing the C-10 Hercules jets, cargo craft, taking off. That's 1,000 meters from the Guyana side. A fully refurbished runway, well marked with international markings, etc. This is happening as we speak, and this government doesn't see it fit to convene even a sitting of the sectoral committee to say to us what is happening and what their reactions are.
One of the things, we're looking at the time, 51 minutes after 9 o'clock. Amanza Walton Desir, Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs, with us here. And let's take a drive all the way from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We're heading down to Congress Place. We're waiting for them to open the gate for us to go into Congress Place, because I do have some questions for you. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with those questions about Congress Place and other matters of interest to our listeners. We'll be right back. I've noticed some of the guys they get ticklish when I mention Congress Place. Let's drive into Congress Place. One of our listeners saying, "Hey, Congress Place is a private property." Sean Anthony Bengel. Well, we will be charged. At least I'm prepared to be charged.
Something Sean would say.
Yeah, Sean is a mischievous guy, very mischievous. Good night to all of you. Wayne V. Caesar. I know Wayne would probably want to have you on his show sometime. It's called Over to You. That's his show. Yeah. Asha, and all of you guys, every single one of you, we are reading your comment. Dennis Atwell, Neville, Sital, also known as Civic, all the way in Madhya. Good night to you. Okay, the guys open the gate for us to go into Congress Place. Hi, guys, what's happening? What's happening at Congress Place? Some people feel that it's divided. And how often do you guys meet at central executive level? Talk to us a little bit about this perception of an extremely divided house at Congress Place.
Mark, I have never been one to be coy, and information is out there, and clearly there is work to be done. What I will say is that for me, as a member of parliament, as a member of the central executive of the party, I remain available to be of service to the leader of the party and to the party. Once called upon, I am here to serve. And I think that is the position of all of my colleague MPs. So I really get deeply concerned about these accusations of division and of fighting down. We're here to serve. I am here to serve. And once I'm called upon to execute a task, I am I make myself available. I'm readily available. So I'm not sure about these accusations of fighting down and so on and so forth. For me, it's very, very simple. You require Amanda to do something, Amanda gets it done. So I don't feed into the narrative of division and strife, etc. I really don't.
Do you feel that you're being underutilized?
Um, I think so, severely. I mean, look, I have served in the highest levels of public service for 20 years. I've served in international organizations. And so for me, it is about bringing all of the 20 years that you've been practicing law and being involved in public service and international organizations at the highest level, bringing that to bear and to be able to serve an organization that I truly believe um, can represent the interests of the ordinary man. And so for me, like I said, my disposition to all and sundry, to the CC, to the leader of the party, is that, hey, if you need me to get something done, you call on me. I always make myself available. So I don't feed into the rhetoric of division or fighting down. Mm-mm. My
At the,
energy is
at the party level and central executive level, do you guys meet often to discuss matters?
There
Members
have
of
been some lapses in meetings. I know that we have one coming up this week, and so I believe that there has to be a concerted effort to keep the meetings as regularly as we can, because we do have a government that is running amok. And so, the thing about the PNC is that it is a democratic party. It's not a case where like the guys over so where one man sits down and makes all of the decisions. There are people with divergent views, and it is expected that in a civilized manner, all of the views are heard and the best possible um, path forward is chosen. Because at the end of the day, we don't represent ourselves; we represent people who elected us to serve and to represent their interests as best as we possibly can. So at all times, the interests of the people have to be subsumed beneath personal, have to be, rather, the personal interests have to be subsumed um, under the interests of the people. That has to be paramount. And so for me, Mark, contrary to what you may hear, listen, my energy is dedicated to holding the PPPC government accountable. But I do not feed into dysfunction and division and strife. If I'm required to speak on a matter that falls within my area of responsibility, I will speak. If I am required to help a constituent who has reached out to me to help, I will help. If I'm required to advise, I will advise. If I'm required to appear, I will appear. So I don't think I could be any clearer about what my posture is. In my view, everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a strength that they bring to the table. And for me, my focus has always been on how do I identify your strength, and how do I empower you to bring your strength to the table? Because I am not threatened by what you are strong in. what you can do, I can't do. What I can do, you might not be able to do. And so we have to continue to press for everybody bringing their strengths together and forming that fist that can smite this haughty enemy that we have here, the enemy of the destiny of Guyanese, this mafia that masquerades as a government, People need light, people need water, people need livable wages. So I simply don't have the time for division and strife.
I noticed a comment here from Miss Deborah Archer said it's about accountability, inclusiveness, communication, respect for the rule of law, unity of the party, and being formidable force.
Oh, no, absolutely. And she's absolutely right. I mean, that is those tenets of accountability, transparency in leadership is what lends credibility to a party. Your fidelity to your constitution is what lends to the credibility of a party. You could wish it away, but it won't go away because that is just the reality of it. And so, it is time that we call the spade. And I will be the first to say yes. There's a lot of work that we have to do, but I am one person. I could chew gum and walk at the same time. So we could deal with our issues and keep this government accountable. The people have to come first.
Absolutely. You're from the country, so you can chew gum and walk at the same time. I'm familiar with
Absolutely.
that. And so your party's Congress should have been held last year. The leader of the party, Mr. Aubrey Norton, says it's going to be held by August 31st. It's going to be held by August 31st. It's going to be held by August 31st. How do you feel about that? Congress has not been held as yet. No date has been set. But the leader says it's going to be held by August 31st.
I think it is important that a date be set. There are people who have arrangements to make. We have party members in the diaspora who want to travel home for a congress. So I think again, if we're talking about the interests of the people, we have to set a date so that people can plan their lives and they can plan to be here in Guyana if they desire to be here. I am so for me, my position is out in the public and very clear. Set a date. Set a date and
What,
have the
what's
partners
what's the
listen.
hold up? What's the hold up?
I am not aware of what the holdup is. If I give you a reason, I'd be lying to you because I don't know.
You're a member of the Central Executive, right?
I am.
Have you asked the Central Executive? Have they been asking these questions?
Absolutely. And I am hopeful that at our next meeting, a number of issues that we have will be clarified.
Okay, so Congress has not been set as yet, but the leader says that by August 31st, of course, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton will be running again. And then we recently heard that Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford threw his hat in the race, says that he is going to be running. People have been speculating. They've been watching Amanza, Walden Desir, town hall meetings, and so forth. And they have this thing about maybe that little voice, that inner voice is telling them that Amanza is going to run. Today happens to be the 22nd day, the fourth month of the year 2024. If nominated, will Amanza Walton Desir run for leader of the People's National Congress Reform?
Mark, I've spoken about this extensively, and I've really said that we have to activate a process. The beautiful thing about the PNC is that it has a constitution that says if any member desires to run for a particular office, they're free to so do, and that is the nature of a democracy. And if people um, see something in you and they see it fit to nominate you, then it certainly is not something that you could just flippantly brush aside. It would be something that you'd have to consider. It's something that you'd have to have discussions with your family, with people who may support you. So for me, it's not something that you grasp at eagerly. It is something that requires sober, temperate decision making, because you're talking about the lives of people, and you're talking about the leadership of a party that has a mandate to deliver for the ordinary man, woman, and child that will not have a representative otherwise. So it's certainly something that will have to be considered if people repose that confidence in you.
So if you have a group that says that they want Amanza Walton Desir to run for the leadership of the party, sufficient time, I'm sure your family members have given you the green light. Assuming that that's the case, and this group says yes, they want. Are you going to accept the nomination if that day comes by? Will you accept the nomination to run or not?
Look, I think, Mark, I think I've answered it. I would have to think about it. I would have to consult, and that is it. For me, and I'll tell you, like I said to the town hall, I could stand and say, yes, I will. But for me, that is feeding into a dysfunction that I do not want to be a part of. A Congress is activated by particular activities. That has to be done. And this is not about washing your laundry in public or whatever. This is the beauty about democracy. It's messy
True.
sometimes, but it is transparent as well. And so, to the degree that the systems have not been activated even for nominations to happen, why am I feeding into a frenzy that is already causing friction and fracture? I prefer at this juncture to use my energies to hold the PPP accountable. This blackout thing is annoying me. I'm just thanking God that we have a show here and that, I got light throughout and we don't just cut out halfway. The point that I am making is that there are issues that require us to focus on holding this government accountable. The health sector is broken. The education sector is broken. Water coming through the tap is stink. People don't have light for 8 hours a day. So why am I going to suppose and get into a process that has not even happened? When it happens and considerations have to be made and pronouncements have to be made, those pronouncements will be made, I assure you. But for now, I am not going to get caught up into anything. I want us to follow our constitution. I want us to honor our party's constitution. So I'm not going to make any pronouncement that goes against that. I'd be a hypocrite to ask that you honor the constitution of your country and then you subscribe to the dishonoring of your party's constitution. I'm not prepared to do it. So I'll speak on it within the framework of a Congress and of nominations. But for now, I want to talk about the Venezuelan issue. I want to talk about GPL. I want to talk about the people that got to move tomorrow from the seawall after spending $5 and $6 million to invest in places on the advice of the government, and now they have to pick up and move. That is what I want to spend my energy.
You know what happened. I've been around the block. I've been around the block for a while. I understand exactly what is happening here, but it is not to say that you're not interested in running. You're not saying that you give that up, you bypass it.
No, absolutely not. And let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with ambition. Nobody should tell you that you should not have an ambition. And nobody should tell you that if you believe that you have a contribution to make, that you should sit down and shut up. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You were put here on earth to make a contribution, and you make it as best as you can and as loudly and as effectively as you can. So, that is my position on that.
I got you. That's okay. I got you. We'll invite you back here as soon as CAC is a date is set, and we'll get some more answers from you. But before we go, though, still have a few minutes remaining. How would you describe the leadership of your party? The leader. It's okay. Describe him. How do you would describe your leader of your party, the leader of the opposition?
Look, for me, and I could only speak in terms of my relationship with him. It is cordial, and I maintain this publicly and I maintain it privately. If I have an issue with something, I may not agree with something, I pick up the phone. That is the leader of the party, and he is to be accorded the respect until he is no longer the leader, if that is the case. You see, for me, I'm very big on respecting people and their positions. But I'm also very big on saying that respect is a two-way street. And for me, if I have an issue, pick up the leader. Hey, you in office? Yes. Can we discuss this matter? And that's it. That is the kind of relationship that we have, which is why I can comfortably say, I am here to serve. If he gives guidance on a particular matter, that guidance is taken. So again, for me, I don't feed into dysfunction. Everybody has a role to play. He has been a lecturer. He understands the geopolitical dynamics, etc. And those are facts, and it doesn't diminish a person to acknowledge somebody else's strengths. And so, he will be accorded, as far as I'm concerned, the respect of the leader of the party because he holds the office.
What's your position on coalition government and the approach of the PNC in the next general and regional elections?
Um, Coalition is the politics of the future. I've been very clear on that. I've been very clear on that. Look, the object of our political system is to um, achieve an inclusionary democracy. And so I think the APNU AFC would have demonstrated that this big tent approach can work. It can work, Mark, because the ability to have different views, the ability to be able to bring those views to the table and find a way forward is what inclusionary democracy is about. And I think we have been able to model that. And so for me, we have an excellent working relationship with the AFC. If I pick up the phone now at 10 past 10 and call Ken Rajanjatan, he will answer. If I pick up the phone now and call Sherrod Duncan or Kathy Hughes, they will answer, or David Patterson. That is the kind of working relationship that we have. And so I am optimistic that um, we will absolutely have to continue as a coalition. I have no objection to that whatsoever.
All right. Just before we go to our closing remarks, let me just thank our listeners all around Guyana, outside of Guyana, and offer some hope for the people who have lost hope under this corrupt PPP regime. Corruption every day. We've heard about the Sioux Gate, no investigations, nothing. We have heard about people's lands being taken away from them. We have seen people's homes being bulldozed and all manner of things. We saw recently a disrespect by the members of this regime toward Miss Juanita Uburn, a well-known journalist out in Guyana. Offer some sort of hope to the people who are watching this show right now, who have lost hope, who have to basically be subjected to people forcing them to buy hot dogs before they can get some sort of cash grants and all manner of things. Talk to all of our listeners before you go, please, in your closing remarks.
You have the power. Contrary to anything that you might hear or see, the power to have a better future is in your hands, and it has to be exercised with wisdom. It's the power of your vote. And so the next elections, you have the ability to put an end to all of this corruption and suffering and mismanagement. It is within your power. What we have to do is to be honest with ourselves as to whether, as a people, we can demonstrate the will and the courage to eschew ethnic division, ethnic strife, and to vote and to begin to vote on policies and to begin to vote on issues and to eschew the type of division that has seen the ordinary hardworking Guyanese man and woman being held for ransom for so many years. Look, Guyana is at a place that it has never been in its life. For the first time, we are able to, with prudent management, with prudent economics, provide a good life, a high quality life for every Guyanese man, woman, and child. It is possible. But we must want it, and we must be willing to vote for it. And so I want to encourage us that there is hope, that there is a way, that better is possible. And I believe that the APNU AFC is better. I want to say to us that yes, we did not get everything right in the last 5 years, but we have learned. And I think we are ready to lead this nation again. I know that on our side, we have issues to work on, and I am committed to working to keep us united, to have us continue in a united way so that we can confront this government and that we can transform ourselves into a machinery that will hold them accountable and that will gain your confidence in the upcoming elections. The plans that we have for Guyanese that we began to implement in the last 5 years saw improved electricity, improved water supply, improved health care, improved education. There was marked improvement in every sector of Guyanese life, of the things that mattered most to Guyanese. The business community, they thrived. The small contractors could attest to the transparency of the system, where contracts didn't just go to a handful of people, but it was spread across. And we made deliberate efforts because we passed the law to so do to ensure that there are carve outs for small businesses so that everybody got to participate meaningfully in the economy. And I think Guyanese have had the opportunity to compare and to contrast. And so, come 2025, I believe that we will continue and we will see the people reposing that confidence in us and that we will continue to build this country, learning from the lessons because we did not do everything right, like I said. But I believe that we have been able to look, we've been able to learn, and we have now been able to make the necessary interventions to mitigate those weaknesses. I believe that we are able to better manage the oil economy, Mark, and I believe that we have a better plan in terms of making sure that Guyanese are able to benefit from this patrimony, truly benefit. And so I have great hope and faith in the people of Guyana that they will hold this PPP government accountable and that come next elections, they will not get the people of Guyana to vote for them, but they will instead vote for the APNU AFC because we are the party to take Guyana into the future.
Thank you so much. That's 16 minutes after 10 o'clock. Well said. The people have to vote the corrupt PPP regime out of office. Just as we played this video before we go to remind people.
Yeah, my name is Jacinti Caldata from City, Vietnam. And since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Throughout the country, if they have to lose by one vote, they will lose by data. Quite encouraging. They have 1,000. Is it raining over by you?
It's raining. It's raining. It is. Yes.
I just know the
reason. My plants are ecstatic.
Yeah. I noticed we have some mischievous. You might want to say hi to some mischievous folks. Gary Greenwich is saying, so Marco, bye. Y'all kiss and make up, and drink a Red Bull together. There was nothing. I just love my selfie stuff. So what is it's politics. Dominic Fair, the deputy mayor of Linden. Good night, sir. You are certainly going to be invited sometime on the program. You were
Hey,
saying something.
Dominic. No. I was just saying, look, we have a greater purpose. We have a greater purpose. We have a higher calling, and so
And you coming. You have experience as a pastor too, right?
me. No, I was married to one for some years. Yes, and but outside of that, you just have to be you just have to be sure about what you were put on earth to do. I was talking in closing with some students. I had to deliver a lecture to, well, not a lecture, it was a interactive session at Johns Hopkins last week, and they were asking me what is the best advice I could give. Practicing law for 20 years and working across the gamut of industries that I have, was the best thing that I could give them. And the truth is that authenticity is the best thing. You bring the best you to the situation. You can't be anybody else, because if you be anybody else, you are literally robbing the world of what God put you on the earth to do. So just be yourself, and that is what I always will be.
Thank you so
I
much.
know all feelings. So you call me Barbie, but I still love you and I forgive you, because you are a part of our.
There's no evidence that I ever don't take set up with these people.
All right, thank you. Mark, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure talking with you. God bless.
But give my regards to those people at Fifth Village there.
I will tell them. I certainly will.
And I'll let Penny know you say hi, right? All right.
Please tell her I said hello. Thank you so much. All right. Good.
Yeah. All right. Amanza Walton Desir there, Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs. You guys are something else in the audience, right? Y'all can't allow things to just slip by. Y'all are something else, complaining about what I call her and all manner of things. You guys are something else. Thank you so much, Honorable MP. And thank you all our listeners. And just before we go, though, let me just say this, that do not worry, do not be bothered about what happened in Brooklyn. It's just a couple of them. We usually say hustlers, try a thing. Now, things are rough in Guyana, and Irfan Ali's so-called government discriminates against people, mostly people of African descent. And when you have a handful of these guys in Brooklyn, oh yeah, they love it, and they're taking their I'm not supposed to say selfie tonight, but they're taking their phones and taking pictures and running around and all manner of things. And that's not what your country can do for you, but what land you can get from your. No, that's not the correct quote, right? But look at this. This was a circus. Do not be fooled, guys. Do not be fooled. And again, if you are not comfortable going into a business to support a business, boycott that business. Nothing is wrong with that. Boycott whoever you want. It is your money. You decide on whether you want to spend your money or not. I am not going to be spending my money in certain businesses there in Brooklyn or wherever, not just Brooklyn, even in Guyana. Those people out in Brooklyn, I'll say this again, they owe you guys. They owe you guys an apology. They have to apologize. Instead of running around trying to sugarcoat things, trying to say, oh, it never happened. Oh, we're doing it for the good of the country. This is not for the good of the country. Do not be fooled by these people. It is not for the good of the country. It's for themselves. It's to take a little selfie. It is to basically walk around and pomposette themselves. That is what it is about. It is nothing that is good, and nothing good can come out of this story done. If you guys agree with me, just say a little amen as we prepare to go. Say a little amen as we prepare to go. And when you are in Brooklyn, we're talking right now about Brooklyn, bypass certain businesses until the owners of those businesses apologize. They have got to apologize. We cannot, this is not going to be business as usual. We're not going to sit down and take this disrespectful crap. This is not that we don't believe in democracy. That is beyond democracy. It is hypocrisy. It is disrespect. And then right after that, did you see the manner in which a man who calls himself the president of Guyana behaved in what is called some sort of message to the nation? Anger. venom, all these sort of things coming out from him. This is not what we are looking for as a head of state. This man is very emotional. In fact, he's an emotional wreck. He's just not the kind of person that we need. And for those who embraced him, we saw the likes of a rough, right? The rough. No, I'm not knocking at anybody. I'm not knocking at anybody. But how could they embrace? How could they shake a man's hand? Look up to them there. I know that lady. I know her. I know her. She might be watching tonight. Sharif Barker, good night to you. But let me say this to them, those guys, to walk around and parade around with Irfan Ali, knowing that he discriminates against a lot of Guyanese, most Guyanese, especially Guyanese of African descent. Especially Guyanese of African descent. That is what they do. They beat up, they do all manner of things. But these people don't have a voice. They can't tell these Pakus in the PPP that they're wrong. They can't. But instead, they want to rush and parade them in Brooklyn, right? Parade them, walk around with them in Brooklyn. And we all must feel happy. Oh, it is democracy. No. Not in Brooklyn, not anywhere. It has got to stop. Enough is enough.
Take responsibility. We want you to look out for us. We do not want no segregation. No. We are one people. And if we're going to do it, let's do it together. Because we have respect for you. Thank you.
All right, President.
It was a circus. It was a circus. And to the PNC folks, PNC, the party, and NAR, and other PNC groups in Brooklyn or wherever, get y'all act together because cat eat y'all dinner. Look at what happened. The leader of the opposition was in Queens sometime last year. They protested. Of course, there was a counter protest. And they tried to disrespect the leader of the opposition while he was in Queens. It was a cordial meeting, public meeting. We carried it right here live. But then Irfan goes into Brooklyn like a thief in the night, organized by a few sellouts. And we know who they are. They know who they are. We all know who they are by now. That is why we're saying, watch how you spend your money. Watch how you spend your money. I leave for this evening by saluting this woman here, whoever she is. She stopped eating KFC. I believe that's KFC, or, correct me. She stopped for a moment and she went over to the hospital, Kings County Hospital, where I am told by a source that Irfan Ali is under investigation. The hospital is investigating who granted permission for him to walk into the hospital and stop and humbug patients and nurses and doctors from rushing to their job. And majority of those people there are not Guyanese. They were curious folks, curious onlookers who stopped, of course, to find out what's going on here.
I don't want to put it here. You want to put it here. That's fine.
10 floors of ambulatory care. Oh, wow.
Did you hear this lady? She's talking about, she just finished knocking up her little food, you know. I salute this woman. You know who she reminds me of? Rhonda Lane in Guyana. Albeit she has a different voice. We all know Rhonda Lane. We haven't seen her tonight. Let's hope our sister is okay. Rhonda Lane, somebody check in on her after the show. But this lady was asking, we ain't get water and light in Guyana. We ain't get water and light. And those other, I don't want to call anybody house slave. I wouldn't do that. Honestly, I wouldn't do that. Right? But this lady, salute her, whoever she is. Salute her, whoever she is. She said, we ain't get light and water, right? We ain't get light and water. And the others there were trying to tell her basically, shut up, quiet, be quiet. Now is not the time for that. Just like when they were at the Hills, I believe it was, and there was this lady, Bonita Montague, who attempted to ask serious questions, and they shut her up. Now is not the time for that. Now is not the time for that, because if these people were allowed to ask the sort of questions, then you cut up some of them runnings. It's all about runnings. And then look, before we go, there is somebody, and I see where this is heading, who loves to push their mouth in everything, every single thing they push their mouth in, to talk about, oh, those people who are talking about boycotting Brooklyn. Look, when that individual was running their mouth about Queens and the business people in Queens, and some of them got to be investigated and boycotted, and NYPD, and oh man, look, some people, I don't know what is going on with some people, you know. I'm warning them. It's a warning. Anyways, my name is Mark Benchap. I'm out of here. Renetta Carr, you know what's going on. And to all of you again, thank you all so much. Somebody saying Schenectady and Church Avenues. Yeah, you guys know what's going on too. But keep your money in your pocket. Keep your money in your pocket. Brooklynites, keep your money in your pocket. Story done. No more that Irfan Ali were talking crap about unity. Nobody, they do not believe in unity. I'm out of here, guys. I got to go and sleep. All right? Amanzo Walton Desir, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you guys, some of you are snitches in the audience, right? Telling her about selfie, and I said this and I said that. I'm watching some of y'all. Thank you all so much. Tony Hack, Cheryl Panchin, Bantu King, Brenda Braithwaite, Debbie Collins, Wesley Ward, Jamal, all of you guys. I can't call all the names. Golly God, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we should find out what Wayne Caesar. You guys, if you want Wayne Caesar on tomorrow, let us know. He has a busy schedule now too as well. Lachman, good night to you. And all those who are celebrating their birth anniversaries, happy birthday. The former mayor of Linden, Carvin Holland, is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday. And yesterday, I think, Roysdale Ford, Senior Counsel, and Shadow Minister of Legal Affairs and Shadow Attorney General Roysdale Ford celebrated his birth anniversary yesterday. Happy birthday to him, and to all of you out there too who celebrating your birthday today. Happy birthday. All right. God bless all of you, every single one of you. I'm out of here. I'm feeling a bit hungry, right? Yum, yum. Seriously, I want to stop eating hot dog. PPP guy threatening people. I feel like I want to stop eating hot dog, guys. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't buy hot dog from this guy. You know, he's cruel to some people. All right. Well, since he's up, we might as well give him the award for tonight.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata, Francis C. Vietnam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my ex next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
All right, I'm out of here. Leave him alone. Leave him alone. Yeah. Hot dog, man. Gotta go, though. Love you guys. Until tomorrow, same place, same time. So long.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.